Welcome to Gone Outdoors. Kyle Agre and Scott Brewer of Brewer Agre Outdoors. Talking hunting, talking fishing, and talking anything you can do outdoors. Right here on Kello News Talk 1320, 107.9 FM, and KWSN 1230 AM, 98.1 FM, both out of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and the mighty 790 KFGO Fargo 104.7 FM. Today's Gone Outdoors is brought to you by Ray's Sport and Marine, your local Lund Boats and Bennington pontoon dealer in Moorhead. RaysMarineMoorhead.com. Adventure RV across from the Fairgrounds Inn, West Fargo, your number one RV dealer in the FM area. AdventureRVSales.com. Devil's Lake Tourism. Looking for wide open spaces, amazing fishing, and a refreshing escape? Discover Devil's Lake, where adventure, relaxation, and North Dakota hospitality come together. Plan your stay at devilslakend.com. The Outdoor Adventure Foundation. For over 17 years, the foundation has created life-changing outdoor adventures for youth facing life-threatening illness, injured veterans, and first responders. Learn more at outdooradventurefoundation.org. Strand Ace Hardware, Barnesville and downtown Pelican Rapids, proudly family-owned for 70 years. Valley Truck Gear, protecting your equipment. The Outdoorsman, and Onyx Fish Midwest, cast beyond the familiar. And it is great to be back here, Mr. Brewer, and to all of our listeners, happy Saturday, the Saturday before Independence Day, before the 250th birthday of our great country that allows us to be free to get out and fish, to hunt, to do all of the things in the outdoors that we talk about each and every week here on Gone Outdoors. We're a week away from that, and we are a week away past the longest day of the year. We're losing daylight. We're working towards ice season, and here we go.
Yeah, and we're also a week past Father's Day. Congratulations to all you fathers out there. There's two of them right here. Both me and Kyle are fathers. Yeah, it's a huge job. Congratulations for all your hard work as well over the years. And if you're a young father and you don't know what we're talking about, you will. Trust me. You
Absolutely.
will. You'll figure it out.
Yeah. Comes with the territory. There's no doubt about it. No doubt about it. It's another busy week here. We had Camp Casey on the other night here, and that is always a fun experience to take those kids out and host them in our boats. This weekend here, we've got Women on Water going on today. Again, it's a busy time. It's a fun time. There's so much to do. The days are long. I find myself looking out the window at, 10 o'clock at night and the sky is still light out. It's like, man, this is great.
It's a beautiful thing. It is a beautiful thing. Yeah, the days are going to start getting shorter ever so slowly, and that's fine. We still got a lot of summer left. A lot of warm weather is coming, which we will all enjoy to some degree as long as it's not too warm. But even then, if it's really warm during the day, if you wake up in the morning and it's 65 degrees and you can just throw on a pair of shorts and you don't have to wear long pants all day, that's a good thing too. I really enjoy those days as well. And those days are coming.
Those days are coming. We get them all, right? And that's the beauty of it. We get them all and we enjoy them while we have them. And we've got a lot going on. I mean, the fishing has been good. The rain we've got lately, at least in my area, I don't know about you, Scott, but in our area, the lakes aren't necessarily coming back up, but they're not going down anymore.
Yep.
That's a good thing. I know there were some people worried about the availability of enough water to get boats on and off of lifts. And I think that's maybe at least stalled out a little bit in terms of the worry and stress on that. So that's good.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what the water temp is on your lake, Kyle. On my lake, it was 65 degrees, which is still a little bit cool, I'm thinking, for this time of year. But the fish are transitioning. Right now, you can find some fish in deep water. You can find some fish in the mid-range, and there's still fish shallow. I mean, there's fish throughout the entire water column. You just got to search for them. Keep searching, keep looking. Once you find them, generally you can figure out a way to catch them. The key is finding them, but don't tell yourself that they're all shallow or they're all deep, because last Sunday when I was out, I caught some walleyes in 20 feet. The same time my neighbor was out in 30 feet and he caught some walleyes. And I can guarantee you if we would have looked in 10 feet, we could have found some there too.
Yeah, it is that way for sure. And the one thing to keep in mind if you're out there wetting a line is that as that water temperature is where it's at now and getting a little bit warmer as we approach summer peak, the time of the year when that water hits its maximum temperature, these fish are cold-blooded animals, and the water warms up, so does their metabolism. They need to eat more. They need to be actively searching for food. Wherever it is, deep, shallow, or somewhere in between, look for the food, find what they're eating, and chances are you're going to find the fish not too far away.
Speaking of looking for the food, Kyle, with all this rain that we've had, which we haven't got a huge amount of rain, but it has been wet. You know, it seems like we get a little storm one day, then 2 days later we get another little storm. It has been wet, and you know what loves wet? Mushrooms.
Yeah, you were able to get out and find you found some oyster mushrooms, right?
Yep, found some oyster mushrooms. They're one of my favorite. They're easy to identify, easy to pick, easy to clean and cook up. I also found some crown-tipped coral, which is a little bit more unique. It's not one of your standard run-of-the-mill mushrooms, but once you find it, you'll know exactly what it looks like. It sticks out like a sore thumb in the woods, and it's easy to identify. So look up crown-tipped coral, and you can add that to your mushroom list. But the point is, get out into the woods, go for a walk, make sure you bring your tick spray or wear your clothes that you got permethrin on, because there are still some ticks out there. But get out there and find some mushrooms to go with your walleye dinner.
That sounds absolutely delicious, Scott. Absolutely delicious. Hey, we've got a great show lined up. We're going to talk about a lot of different things during each of our segments today. After we take this break, we will be visiting with Chris Granrud of Rainy Dayz Guide Service up on Rainy Lake on the U.S.-Canadian border. And Chris has got a great story about his decision to become a fishing guide some 20 years ago. And he's going to share that with us and talk a little bit about what it's like to have your own business and be a fishing guide. Jeff Westgard of the Hammond Group and Benchmade Knives will give us a little crash course on all of the different options when choosing a knife, blade steel and handle, and just all of the factors we need to think about when we want to select a knife as a tool to be used in our outdoor expeditions and excursions. Mark Holsten, Executive Director of Minfish, is going to talk a little bit about what they're up to and some of the things that they and the DNR are doing to promote fishing to our youngsters in our communities, which is always a great thing. And I can't wait to hear from Mark when it comes to that. Folks, we do have a good one. Don't go away. We're going to take a quick break now, and we'll be back with more Gone Outdoors. Onyx Fish Midwest, covering 11 states on both iOS and Android. All your fishing information is one click away. Searching for new destinations by species, abundance, or trophy potential, it's all at your fingertips, including access points and shoreline ownership.
You get confused by special lake regulations? They're all on Onyx Fish Midwest. Real-time weather for your exact location, aerial imagery, and waypoint management, all right to your mobile device. Use code BA Outdoors to get 20% off your subscription at onyxmaps.com. Hey everybody, welcome back to Gone Outdoor Radio. You're listening on Kello News Talk or KWSN in Sioux Falls or KFGO the Mighty 790 in Fargo-Moorhead, or maybe you're listening on podcast. Wherever you're listening, thank you for joining us today. Scotty Brewer, Kyle Agre, Brewer Agre Outdoors. And on this segment, we got a gentleman, I think he's been on the show once, maybe twice, a couple years ago, Mr. Chris Granrud. He is the owner of Rainy Dayz Guide Service up on Rainy Lake. Chris, welcome back to Gone Outdoors.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
Chris, so you've built a great business up on Rainy Lake. Not only as a guide, but as a business owner and a fishing promoter. I mean, you do it all. You're guiding every day, you're running the business, plus you're promoting fishing, promoting your partners. I don't know how you have time for it all.
Well, I mean, honestly, it's a busy time of year, of course. We're pretty crazy in the open water season, but sometimes when you're doing stuff that you really enjoy doing, you've got a passion for, you kind of make time for it. I mean,
Yep.
but yeah, it's a busy time of year, no question about
And
it.
I've always thought that guides, they're very, very special people because you have to go out and fish every day. And when I say you have to go, a lot of people go, oh, darn it, I gotta go fishing. But it's different than that. You know what I'm saying. You have to go out and go fishing and put on a smile and entertain your clients every day. And it's not that easy. And every one of you guys are special. You're on the water each day. And in the past life, Chris, you didn't do this. You were working in Rochester, I believe it was. You were working your
Yep.
way up the
Yep.
ranks and a business position. You were doing very good. I seen on a post here recently that you were in Time magazine because of all your great work in the financial world. And you chose to give all that up and become a guide on the Rainy River. Why is
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, boy, it's a fun story now. But I mean, back when I was in school, I mean, everything I'd ever learned was, just try to climb the ranks in business. And I was in school for business, and I got into the financial industry. I always liked numbers and economics, and I had an office down in Rochester, down in the Massey building, right next to the Mayo Clinic, and we worked with a lot of doctors down there, and we helped in the financial planning side of things, also in life insurance and disability insurance, stuff like that. And I had the opportunity to be, pretty successful, and I was flown out to some places, and I was getting awards, and we were making a lot of money. And I remember just thinking to myself, like, it just wasn't what I thought it was going to be. I mean, the money was good, right? And I just thought I wasn't 100% sure that's what I wanted to do with my career, and it was going to be more than economics. And of course, I was just a hardcore fisherman and outdoorsman, and I had bought a lot up here on Rainy Lake, and I was from Rochester again. I didn't know anybody up here. And I just remember those drives kind of coming back home, back to Rochester and back to the office. Like each time I come back, it got a little bit harder, and I just felt like my heart was on the lake, my heart was fishing, and as a kid, I had told my teacher I was going to be a fisherman when I got older, and then it kind of got chuckled at because it wasn't really a career, and I just thought, when I was younger, I thought, well, I could just pretty much do whatever I want to do, and I'm gonna make it as a fishing guide and build a career out of this because that's really where I want to be. And that's what I did. So I got out of the financial industry and came up here, built a home, thought a job. And my dad thought I was, absolutely bonkers. I mean, he was an engineer at IBM. So we were lining the stripes up the towels and lining the soup cans at home. I mean, just going up here with no job was not really really a wise decision.
Hey, Chris,
Uh,
I know the answer to this, but any regrets looking back on it that you made the right decision?
not now I know. I mean, it was the right decision. I mean, it was a good decision. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know for sure if I could do it again. Like, I mean, because I'm a little older now, and probably a little more conservative in nature, and maybe wouldn't take that risk. But I think as a young guy, I mean, it's just do what you want to do. I mean, at the end of the day, you got one shot to do what you want to do. I mean, my goodness, if you're gonna take a chance on anybody, take a chance on yourself and go ahead and do that. So there's so many people that love fishing, and and they have an opportunity to make it in this industry. The industry is, as you guys know, it's a little bit of a tough spot right now for young guys to kind of make it, but there's really nothing that you can't accomplish. I mean, like, if you want to make it, you're gonna make it happen. And that's kind of what I did. I mean, I didn't have any room for failure. Like, failure wasn't going to be one of the options. I mean, I had moved my family up here, I built a home, and I was gonna make it in this industry. I knew nobody up here, not one single person, not one single connection. I just came up here and decided I'm gonna build a guide service. And at the end of the day, if you're passionate enough about whatever it is you're doing, I think that you can be successful. And And, we were fortunate enough to have some of that success, and here we are still doing it. So 20
Chris,
years.
that is a fantastic milestone. Congrats on that. And Chris, if we've got some young folks listening that have those dreams, have those aspirations, but don't maybe know where to start, one of the things that I've always said is it's not just about fishing, right? You've got hospitality, you've got the business side of it. How does it all break down? Where do you spend your time? I mean, how much of the skill set is the hospitality? How much of it is the fishing knowledge and the other things?
Yeah, that's a very good point. I think a lot of times, like you mentioned, people are really laser focused on the fishing part of it. And over the years, we've been up to 12 captains through our guide service. We're down now to 5 captains, and kind of curbing our interest in this the growth there. But so much of it is really just sharing your knowledge with different people, and every trip is a little bit different, right? I mean, but I think that people are just so focused on the fishing end of it. And these trips are all different. I mean, and some people might have never fished before in their lives. I mean, some people might need, want to get out and see the lake. Some people, they've got a 4-year-old kids, never fished before, and they want to introduce them to fishing. And, I think, success in anything really is just doing a really good job fact finding. So like when I get a trip, or we give a trip to our captains, I tell them to, ask people what they're looking for. What is it you're trying to get out of this trip here? What are we trying to accomplish here? And you can really kind of mold, your trip into something that they want, and then it's a lot easier to be successful. Like if you just try to go out and just give some blanket, trip to every single person, I don't really know if that's really what people are looking for. I mean, so much of it, especially as fishing professionals, so much of the talk is about forward-facing sonar and this new technology and this new. Well, I'm here to tell you right now. I mean, most of these trips, they don't care. I mean, you know what? They want to have fun fishing. They want to catch a big fish. They live a busy life. I mean, they want to be taken care of and have fun, and they want to have, their kids, do something besides play on their phones and be hooked into the outdoors or what. But I mean, there's just so much more involvement than just the hardcore nuts and bolts of fishing. So we try to promote fun. We try to obviously help people. We try to teach people. But at the end of the day, when they leave our boat, we want it to be something they talk about at Christmas, and it's something that they look forward to. And I think that we've carved out a pretty good career in making sure that this is something that they look back in fondness. It's a crazy life and busy life, and we're the fun part of that. So we try to take that personal every single time.
Well, Chris, congratulations on 20 years of the best decision of your life when you started Rainy Dayz Guide Service up on Rainy Lake. If any of our listeners would love to reach out to you, how can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, so you can go to our website, so Rainy Dayz Outdoors, Rainy Dayz with a Z Outdoors, and that would give our email address, our telephone numbers. You can also follow like our social media, our Facebook account, or what have you. But those would be the best ways.
Perfect. Thank you, Chris, for coming on Gone Outdoors. We'll make sure it's not a couple years until we talk again.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
All right, stick around. We will be back with the second half of today's Gone Outdoors after this short break. This is Scotty and Kyle. If you're in the market for a new fishing boat, you've got to check out Ray Sport Marine in Moorhead. They've got a huge lineup of Lund boats, all powered by Mercury outboards.
From chasing walleyes to pulling the kids on tubes and skis, there's a Lund built for every kind of adventure, with a Mercury on the back to power through it all.
Visit Ray Sport Marine in Moorhead, just north of Menards, or explore their full Lund and Mercury lineup anytime at raysportmarine.com.
Welcome back to the second half of this morning's Gone Outdoors. Kyle Agre and Scott Brewer of Brewer Agre Outdoors. Talking hunting, talking fishing, and talking anything you can do outdoors right here on KWSN and Kello News Talk in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and the mighty 790 KFGO Fargo. We are excited. We get to welcome a real expert when it comes to some of the things that we carry along in our pocket, in our tackle box, in our hunting bag. Anytime we are headed out in the woods, and for many of you listeners, you know that my son works for Shields, and he kind of got me hooked on this Benchmade knife bug a few years back, and it's been a little detrimental to my wallet. Of course, I've got a whole collection of these things, but in all seriousness, it's been pretty good because they're amazing, amazing tools. And we get today to visit with Jeff Westgard of the Hammond Group and Benchmade Knives. Jeff, welcome to Gone Outdoors.
Thank you, Kyle, and thank you, Scotty. Thanks for having me.
It is great. And then truly, it is sort of one of these things, right? Where you, at least in my case, my son said, "Oh, you got to try these Benchmade knives. They're super cool. Here's the one I'm looking at. What do you think? You should get one too." And I did. And then, you blink 3 times and you turn around and you've got 4 of them in your hunting kit, and you got a couple of them in your fishing kit, and you got more on your dresser for everyday carry. And they're really something that it's not like our grandpa's old pocket knife. These knives are amazingly well crafted, and they are specific to certain tasks that we might do. Is that a good description of the Benchmade approach?
Definitely, yes. And you're not alone. I mean, there's a lot of people out there. Once you go down, the rabbit hole, so to speak, you start dabbling with like Benchmade, you'll find that it, just like you said, you'll have 4 or 5 before you know it. Everything from different size the actual blade handle to applications. You'll find there's a lot of different intended uses that will make you buy more knives.
Yeah, and I know Scott's gotten bit by that same bug. I mean, we're both victims of it, and I love it. I absolutely love it because they're super cool tools. One thing I noticed early on is that even within some of the same models, you have different steel that's being used. And you've got your model that might be used for a different purpose, and certainly within the same one, you might use it for different things. And I wanted to visit a little bit about what that blade steel means and the importance of choosing the right one. And so I know you're the expert. Can you give us maybe just some categories of different blade steel that they use in the Benchmade knives?
Certainly, yes. I guess I'll start with some kind of considerations, but just some different things to consider when you're looking at different blade steels. The intended use, are you going to be, for example, around wet and humid conditions? Is it more so very, very impact resistance? Like, is that like a big consideration? The toughness, and then edge retention is also another one. Are you going to be needing to sharpen in the field quite often? Those are some things to consider. As far as common blade steels that we use, Benchmade uses, tough to answer, and a lot of these are really tough to generally answer just with one, but we use S30V for a lot of our everyday carry knives, and then even into hunt as well. Like when I first started with Benchmade, we were using 154 CM, which is a little bit lower on the totem pole, so to speak, or hierarchy, if you will. But S30V has become our kind of banner steel that we use for a lot of different models, both everyday and hunt, as I mentioned. A new one that has really gotten popular that we're using in a wide array, but started from our water line, is MagnaCut. That's been a really exciting one to see take off in popularity. It's just a fantastic blade steel that it's basically got that amped up corrosion resistant property to it. CPM 154 is what we're using for our kitchen line. I know I could go on and on here.
I'm not sure if I want to ask you about the kitchen line or if I want to ask you about the MagnaCut, your fillet knives, because I use them both equally. They're my 2 favorite knives. Let's start out with the fillet knife. So you mentioned it's got the MagnaCut steel, which resists corrosion, stays very sharp. The handle on it, what is that handle made out of? Because almost every fillet knife I've used has gotten slippery when you clean fish.
Yes. So that we call Santoprene, and it is a mixture of neoprene and rubber, and it stays just really nice and tacky in a good way, just in your hand, and it does not slip. It's awesome. Same material actually in our meat crafter, just obviously different color, but same material. It's awesome.
Which is my second favorite knife is the meat crafter.
Here's, I think you kind of touched on it early on, but I want to make it more specific for our listeners. If someone is looking at purchasing a knife, they're shopping, they know they want a knife, and what are the series of questions that maybe they should be asking or considering as they make their selection? And I know, like, if they go to Shields, they've got Shields experts to help them, but I just want to kind of give people some thought on what maybe they want to consider and questions they should ask themselves.
Even aside from blade steel, just some common questions that I always try to kind of hone in on are, what's the intended use? Is this going to be every day? Is it for hunt? Is this person, or are you one that will be able to sharpen yourself or have that desire to do that or not? And then price point is obviously, part of it too. We do have somewhat of like a hierarchy in blade steels that determines price. So for example, like a S30 or a 154 CM is going to be more toward like the 150 range, and these are, kind of broad strokes here, but when you're looking above 200, 250, 300 around there, then you might be looking into like S90, M390, a little bit higher end. So price definitely has a bearing as well. One kind of misconception is people think that there's just this one blade steel that is the best, or one of the best, and basically there's not one that's best. It's just there's trade-offs. There's different properties to each of them. So I don't know if that helps. Hopefully it does here.
Yeah, that helps a lot, honestly, because if I look at the Benchmades that I own and even beyond that, knives I've owned in the past, that different steel, different function, different types of uses and applications. And I think that is important, because one size doesn't fit all when you come to the job you want it to do and how you want it to help you. We're kind of up against the clock here, Jeff. So I want to make sure people know where to go if they want to explore, take a look, find out more about some of the different options and applications that these knives have. Where would you direct them? Where would you tell them to be able to find that information?
I would say our website, benchmade.com, has some great information. We break all of the different blade steels that we use down, and we have kind of like a chart for each one where it goes through different properties, like different hardness levels of each, that sort of thing. So that would be a great resource. There's also, there's plenty of videos and things on YouTube that you can be looking for as well, and that's kind of interesting, but you just have to be mindful of the source. But when I'm training people at Shields or other retailers, I always like to point them back to our website. It's just a really good resource.
That is great. That is great. I appreciate that. And it's good to know that they can find that information and certainly talk to the experts over there too. And we're talking with Jeff Westgard of the Hammond Group and Benchmade Knives. Jeff, thanks for spending some time with us this morning.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it.
Folks, we are not done yet. We've got a lot more ahead of us, so don't go away. We'll take a quick break and be back with more Gone Outdoors.
At Acme Tackle, innovation meets results, from legendary cast masters to proven trolling and jigging baits that flat out catch fish.
When it's time to finesse, power, or fill the live well, reach for Kalen's Plastics. Lifelike action, proven colors, and the soft plastics that fish just don't let go of.
And tie it all together with Elliott fishing rods, lightweight, sensitive, and built for anglers who demand performance on every cast.
Acme Tackle, Kalen's Plastics, and Elliott fishing rods. Fish smarter, fish harder, fish confident.
Hey everybody, thanks for sticking with us today on Gone Outdoor Radio. You're listening on Kello News Talk or KWSN or the mighty 790 in Fargo, Moore and surrounding community. Scotty Brewer, Kyle Agre, Brewer Agre Outdoors. And in this segment, we are going to chat with Mark Holsten. He is the Executive Director of Min Fish. Welcome back to Gone Outdoors, Mark.
Thanks for having me, guys.
So Minfish does a lot of work, as we've talked about in the past. You guys do a lot of work with the legislature to preserve fishing in Minnesota. You're probably the biggest fishing advocate in the state of Minnesota, which is pretty impressive considering you've only been around since, I think, 2018.
Yeah, fall of 2018 is when they started the process. So trying to build an organization.
So, and I know it's not necessarily one of your core goals is getting kids fishing, but if any of us want to be forward thinking, we need to include youth recruitment into the conversation to preserve fishing in Minnesota. What do you think?
No, you're spot on, and I would tell you, youth fishing and youth advocacy for fishing is one of our core tenets of MinFish. In fact, our very first piece of legislation that we were able to get through was a grant program for youth fishing programs and student angling program. So it is something we haven't really been talking a lot about it lately because we've been focusing more on the hatcheries and the public access system, but youth fishing is a core piece and a very important piece for us to be working on and make sure that those programs are vibrant so that kids have access to that opportunity to go out and go fishing.
You know, Mark, and you guys work very closely with the DNR. And sometimes you guys butt heads with the DNR, which is just fine. But one of the things I've noticed that in the last 4 or 5 years or so, the DNR really seems to be making fishing access, a huge priority. And I know you guys have played a part in it, and I don't know if it's the leadership of the DNR that's really pushing it, but whatever it is, you can look at the Fin program, Fishing in the Neighborhood program. It's a Minnesota DNR initiative. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, the Fin program it's a phenomenal program that the agency created, decades ago. It's in Minneapolis and St. Paul. It's in the metro age. But what it really is about is being that conduit between school age kids, and teaching them and having the opportunity to go fishing. So what the DNR does is they'll go out and they'll actually stock neighborhood ponds, or they'll put fishing piers out. 30 years ago, there weren't fishing piers. There wasn't places. You had to go stand on a muddy shore and a kid had to cast out. Well, now they put fishing piers out there for them. So then they have these classes where they get access to these kids, bring them, and they'll actually sit out on that fishing pier and teach kids how to tie knots and how to bait a hook, how to catch a fish, how to release a fish. And they go through all of those things. But it's in the neighborhoods. That's what's really cool about it. You're in the neighborhoods of these communities, reaching out and giving kids access to something that they probably wouldn't ever be exposed to if they weren't doing that.
Thank you, Mark. That program is fantastic. And I'll tell you, we see student angling on the rise everywhere, youth angling. And it's one thing for a child, a student whose parent or grandparent have a boat and can take them out, and then they can go to these events, and that's all wonderful. Or maybe it's their best friend's dad has a boat. But for those kids that don't have that connection, whether it's the ability to get connected to a fishing team where someone is volunteering from the outside who's not a parent, or the access of a fishing pier and a pond like you just described, that is touching a whole different crowd that just didn't have those opportunities before.
Right. Yeah, no, you're exactly right.
So, Mark, we're pretty spoiled here in the Fargo-Moorhead area because we have FM Walleyes, we have River Keepers, we have different organizations that do exactly what you're talking about, with the exception of building the piers. Although River Keepers does work on providing access, and we don't stock their lakes or rivers around us, but we get classes going and we try and get community kids. But not every area of the state has that. You look at the cities, I mean, there's some clubs down there, but there's just so much stuff down there, so many people that they just can't reach everybody. And that's where this Fin program really seems to fill in that gap.
It's a start. And I will tell you that the Fin program, as great as it is, the legislature hasn't kept up with the funding of it. It's diminished over the years. And with that, I will tell you, there's a number of good organizations who are trying to fill that void and are doing great work. But it takes a lot of effort, and it takes a lot of us through different venues, different organizations, all stepping in and leaning in and trying to make a difference here. You said it earlier, for me, it was my grandparents. They were the ones who took me fishing and instilled that love of fishing within me. For kids who don't have that, we have to find ways where we can open our time, give ourselves and give some money to organizations who do this work to give those kids a chance to be exposed to this. This is life-altering things. I mean, it's not rocket science here. I mean, we're not giving them a job here, but we're giving them a lifelong experience and a connection to the outdoors that they would never get otherwise.
And it all works hand in hand. Like the high school angling. Sure, they can start here in Fargo-Moorhead area. They can start high school angling in 7th grade. But how many kids that have never held a rod and reel, how many kids that have never fished in their life are going to join the fishing team? Probably not very many because they don't know anything about it. But if they did that at a community event somewhere along the line in their life, that might have sparked enough interest to get them to keep going. So everything all ties in together, and we need help from everybody. We have Mark Holsten. He's the executive director of MenFish. Mark, thank you so much for coming on Gone Outdoors.
Hey guys, thanks for having me, and good luck out there.
Yeah, thank you for what you do and what MenFish does every day.
Thank you.
Special thanks to our show sponsors, Ray Sport Marine, Adventure RV, Devil's Lake Tourism, Valley Truck Gear, Strand Ace Hardware, the Outdoor Adventure Foundation, the Outdoorsman, and Onyx Fish Midwest. Thank you for tuning in to today's Gone Outdoors. Follow along when you're on the water or in the field. Gone Outdoor Podcast at kfgo.com, kwsn.com, KELO.com, Apple Podcasts are on Spotify. Visit us at breweragreoutdoors.com and follow us on social media. Follow along on all of our trails. Till next week from Scotty and Kyle, we will be Gone Outdoors.